Criminal Law Book I, CLJ 3. Lecture 001. Characteristics of Criminal Law. Criminal law, as a branch of law, is governed by specific principles and characteristics that define its application and enforcement. Understanding these characteristics is essential for grasping how criminal law functions within a legal system. Here's a comprehensive discussion of the different characteristics of criminal law. General definition. The principle of generality means that criminal law applies to all persons within the territory of the Philippines, regardless of their race, nationality, gender, age, or status. Scope. This characteristic ensures that all individuals are subject to the same legal standards and are held accountable for their actions under the same legal framework. However, there are exceptions, such as diplomatic immunity for foreign diplomats and heads of state, and in some cases, specific laws applicable only to certain individuals, example military laws for soldiers. Rationale. The generality of criminal law promotes equality before the law, ensuring that justice is applied uniformly to all members of society. Territorial definition. The principle of territoriality means that criminal law is enforced only within the geographical boundaries of the Philippines. This includes the country's land, airspace, and maritime zones. Application. Crimes committed within the Philippine territory are subject to Philippine criminal law. This also extends to offenses committed on Philippine-registered ships and aircraft, even if they are outside the country's borders. Extraterritorial exceptions. There are specific exceptions where Philippine criminal law applies beyond its territory, as outlined in Article 2 of the Revised Penal Code. These include crimes committed on Philippine ships or airships, counterfeiting Philippine currency, and crimes against national security. Rationale. The territorial nature of criminal law ensures that the Philippines can maintain legal order within its borders and protect its national sovereignty. Perspective definition. The principle of prospectivity means that criminal laws apply only to actions committed after the law has been enacted. This means no one can be punished under a law that did not exist at the time the act was committed. Application. This characteristic protects individuals from being retroactively punished for actions that were not criminal at the time they were performed. An exception to this rule is when a new law is passed that benefits the accused, such as reducing the penalty for a crime. Rationale. The prospective nature of criminal law upholds the principle of fairness and legality, ensuring that individuals have the opportunity to know and understand the law before they can be held accountable for violating it. Specificity definition. Criminal laws must be clear and specific in defining the acts that are considered crimes and the penalties associated with them. This is closely related to the principle of nullum crimen, nulla pena sine lege, which means no crime, no punishment without a law. Application. Laws must clearly define criminal acts so that individuals can understand what conduct is prohibited and the consequences of engaging in such conduct. Vague or overly broad laws can lead to arbitrary enforcement and are often challenged on constitutional grounds. Rationale. Specificity in criminal law prevents ambiguity and ensures that individuals are only punished for conduct that is explicitly defined as criminal by law. Mandatory definition. Criminal laws are mandatory, meaning that they must be enforced by the state whenever a crime is committed. There is no discretion to waive or ignore the application of criminal law once it is determined that an offense has been committed. Application. This characteristic ensures that justice is applied consistently, and offenders are held accountable regardless of the circumstances. The mandatory nature of criminal law reinforces the state's role in maintaining public order and upholding the rule of law. Rationale. the mandatory enforcement of criminal law helps to deter crime by ensuring that all offenses are subject to prosecution and punishment, thereby reinforcing legal norms and social order. Punitive. Definition: criminal law is inherently punitive, meaning that it prescribes penalties for those who violate its provisions. These penalties can include fines, imprisonment, community service, or even the death penalty in certain jurisdictions. Application: the primary purpose of criminal law is to punish wrongdoers and prevent future crimes. The severity of the punishment typically corresponds to the gravity of the offense, with more severe crimes attracting harsher penalties. Rationale: the punitive nature of criminal law serves multiple purposes, including retribution, punishing the offender, deterrence, discouraging others from committing similar offenses, and rehabilitation, reforming the offender. Public. Definition: criminal law is public in nature, meaning that crimes are considered offenses not just against individual victims but against society as a whole. As such, the state has the authority to prosecute and punish offenders on behalf of the public. Application: when a crime is committed, the state, through its prosecutors, takes on the responsibility of bringing the case to court, regardless of whether the victim wishes to press charges. This characteristic underscores the collective interest in maintaining social order and public safety. Rationale: the public nature of criminal law emphasizes the idea that criminal conduct harms not only individual victims but also the broader community, and therefore, it is the state's duty to address and rectify such conduct. Conclusion. The characteristics of criminal law: generality, territoriality, prospectivity, specificity, mandatory enforcement, punitive nature, and public character form the bedrock principles that guide the application and enforcement of criminal statutes. Together, these characteristics ensure that criminal law is applied fairly, consistently, and effectively, maintaining social order and protecting the rights and safety of individuals within the legal jurisdiction of the state. Understanding these principles is crucial for anyone studying or practicing law, as they define the boundaries and scope of criminal liability and state authority.